For anybody on already, we're going to wait a few minutes before we start. If you join, let me know. Send me a comment. Let me know you're here. So let's go ahead and get started. And I think that this is the time of 2 o'clock I picked, not knowing what might work well for people right now while people are working as well. So feel free to comment. Hopefully if you can't watch it today, you will watch it at another time and let me know if there's a better time for this. I'd like to do this series every Monday with some other strategies each and every Monday, but do want to know the time that's best for people. So thank you for being here, either live today or watching this at another time. I am very excited to share some things with you in this sort of, visual podcast. My first ever. I coach people one-on-one, and I have actually spoken in front of live groups about some of these topics from time to time, but this is my first in this venue. So why not try it at this time, right? So it's a bit scary, but I'm excited to put myself out there and maybe help and encourage some of you to be able to live from a happier and a more peaceful place. So I can't see everyone who's on. Feel free to send me a hi. I've seen a couple people pop up at this point. And I'm reading one comment now. Some may, as I said, watch this later, but it is really, really nice to be with you today, especially at this time when it's hard to be with people in the way that we want to. So even though I can't see you, and even if, again, you're watching this at another time, can't you just feel what it's like to be together? I know some of you who may watch, I don't know others, but I feel like when you see somebody in person or on Zoom, you just feel the vibe of love and support and togetherness and friendship, and that's really nice. So let's do something for just a minute. Let's get into kind of a state of feeling good and smiling a little bit more. I invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes for a second, and let's visualize us being somewhere where you are close to other people. Let's say the beach in this case, since my community is a beach community. Picture yourself walking up to the beach. Picture yourself with all your gear, and you see your group of friends that you're ready to sit down, and you hug some of your friends, and you hug some of your children, your friends' children. You pull up your chair right next to other people, cheers them with your beverage when you get it ready, and you might even try somebody else's beverage because they say it's so good. And then as you're sitting there talking right in other people's space, somebody passes around a Tupperware with cheese that they cut in their kitchen with no gloves on, and you take a bite of it with your own finger that you put your hand in there and take a bite of. Picture yourself standing at the water shoulder to shoulder. See kids rolling over each other and burying each other in sand. See yourself playing volleyball with other sweaty individuals, right? Then let's say you leave and you decide to go to a restaurant with a couple other people, and you get in a car together with other people who aren't your family, and you drive and you stand at the bar for a few minutes waiting for your table around the laughter and the voices, and then you sit down at a table and in the midst of other diners, and you eat food that you don't have to cook and you don't have to clean up after, and it's just so lovely and it's so wonderful. How does it make you feel? Does it bring a smile to your face? Would you like to keep some of that positivity and peace and appreciation and joy going for a little longer? It will happen again. It will happen again. It may be a little different when it does happen. But it will happen. So open your eyes. Open your eyes now and tell me, what do you see? So I think most of you are going to say that what you see is the same damn thing that you've seen for the last 6 to 7 weeks, right? So let's talk a little bit about where we are right now, about what this COVID situation has been offering up to you. Some of this is what I felt. Some of it is what others have told me they felt. But, in general, it's Groundhog Day again and again and again. And you feel gloomy and depressed and tired and depleted. And when will it end? Tired of cooking, tired of figuring out what you want to cook. Do you have enough groceries? Do you order? Or do you actually venture to the store? When you get the groceries, how much do you wipe everything down? You already wore your gloves and your mask, and maybe you order out. And is it safe? Do you want to order out? Do you want to spend the money? What do you even want? You want to support the small businesses, but I don't even know. I don't know what I want to do. Our house, for example, I do so many dishes. I actually go through dish soap before toilet paper, but we go through a lot of that too. You question whether you're doing enough. I want to help other people, but I'm not really sure what I can do right now. What about homeschooling? If you have kids and you're homeschooling, forget about it. That could be a topic of an entire day-long podcast, but it's so difficult to keep them focused. It's so difficult to keep them interested and keep them busy and not bouncing off the walls. The screen time, questions on screen time, forget about it. I think we question whether we're good parents by letting them be on so much, but on the other hand, I don't want to take it away, because when I want my time, I need him to be able to be on it for a while, right? What about working from home? Whether or not you're working from home with a child that you're homeschooling, which is its own problems, just working from home in general, even if you do it regularly, is so hard. How do you stay motivated? Are you putting your time in the right places? Are you pulling your weight? Are other people pulling theirs? And what about the connectivity issues, right? So you want to go outside. Do you want to take a walk or a trip to the store? Do you want to talk to a friend on the street 6 inches apart, or actually sit down and have a curbside cocktail? Are other people judging you? Are you judging others? What about your house? Have you organized everything? Your socks, your makeup, everything? And then there's laundry and housekeeping and dusting, and oh my God. And many people have others in their household that they may love dearly, but man, is it hard. They may have feelings similar or different from ours. And maybe no matter how well we get along or don't get along with them, it's suffocating to be around people 24/7. News? Are you watching a lot of news? Are you watching a lot of TV in general? Are there any more puzzles to do in your house? What about being healthy, right? You can go online, you can find a lot of ways and reasons to be healthy, but sometimes it's hard to find the time. And sometimes when you're creative and you want to bake, you're making chocolate cake. Or hey, another glass of wine. Okay, cheers. Is it 5 o'clock yet? 4 o'clock? 3 o'clock? 2 o'clock? Yeah. How's your hair? I did mine today a little bit, which I really don't do. I was on a Zoom call with family last night, and I was pointed out by my stepmother how it was nice that I actually did my hair. Manicures, getting pretty good. Questions, when can I wear shoes again? Like real shoes other than sneakers. And then, it's a lot about the worry. You worry about your loved ones. You worry about all those who are very ill and who are dying. You worry about the economy and worry about money. You worry about how long this will last. How am I going to keep my sanity? What's next? When does it end? What the hell is going on? How can I get through this? The COVID situation is really, really hard. And if it wasn't COVID, if it wasn't this situation, there are still so many things in life in general that are hard, that are tough. We all have our own obstacles. We all have our own challenges. And it's really easy to get caught up in the fear and the anxiety and the worry and the negativity. And I think we can all relate, even if our stories and obstacles are different. But I want to ask you, would you like to be happier even at this time? Would you like to exist and see things from a more peaceful place and not be so worried, not snap at your loved ones so quickly when all they're doing is asking a simple question? Would you like to be more appreciative and grateful for this opportunity that we have right now to slow down, to get more organized and organize your life, to learn new skills, to spend time with people that you don't get to spend time with as often? Would you like to live with more joy and feel more positive? Little asterisk, I like asterisks when I'm training. Sometimes I feel like people don't feel that they can be in a positive state when there's so much negativity in the world. There's always a lot of negativity in the world. And I don't think that any of us need to be apologetic about being in a positive state of mind. It's actually better for you. It's better for those you're around, and it's better for everybody else who you contact and you're associated with. It's kind of like that domino effect. If you smile at somebody on the subway or the car pickup line or at the deli, they're actually going to take that and do something with it. If you compliment somebody, they feel better. And it has this domino effect. I try to do some of that every day, and it makes me feel better as well as it really does radiate out to others. Additionally, a positive state of mind is going to help you get out of that state of fight or flight where you feel like you are backed into a corner, always trying to figure out how to survive. When you are in that fight or flight state, you are mentally and emotionally hijacked. You are reactive rather than proactive. So being in a more positive state is actually good for you and is good for everybody around you. It's healthier in so many ways. I'm not apologetic about my sunny disposition. I'm not. Sometimes I tone it up or tone it down, depending upon the situation, who I'm around. I try to use my emotional intelligence. I try to do the best of my ability. But you know what? I don't really care what people think. If I want to be in a positive mood, then I'm going to be. And I think we should all be able to give ourselves permission to be in that positive mood. So how do we shift ourselves into that brighter place with more peace, more appreciation, more joy, more fulfillment? My intention in this series is to discuss some ways that we can actually get ourselves into that positive perspective more often, to come from that place of love and peace, to offer more compassion and forgiveness, not only for others, but for ourselves too. An opportunity to grow, to see opportunities when things look really down, to see those learning opportunities, how you can do something positive with what you just found out and maybe how you think you failed. I want to talk about ways to not let those little annoyances color your day. Maybe we'll talk about opening up your perspective a bit. I'll ask you to challenge the stories you've always told yourself and realize that maybe they're not always true and you're not sure where you get them from. Maybe that you have more choice and you have more control. I want to help provide some new ways of thinking so that you're more conscious of your thoughts and behaviors, so that you don't slip so easily into those places, that you don't want to go, so that you can actually keep yourself in that more desirable state of mind. I'm a big believer in the laws of attraction. And the laws of attraction basically states, you can call it karma, there's lots of other ways to kind of look at it. It's all a little different. But it basically states that your energy grows where you choose to plant it. What you focus on becomes your reality. So if you want to tell that negative story, you want to vent about that awful thing that happened, go ahead and vent about it. But the more often you tell it, and the more often, that becomes your reality. That becomes what you live. And you're going to be involved in a lot more of those situations that have that similar energy and maybe that negativity. So why not put yourself in that more positive place where you send more positive out and more positive comes back to you? I'm a living example of it. So what are some of the themes we're going to talk about? There are 5 that are just going to weave in and out of every topic that we go into. And here they are. 1 is awareness. Okay. One is awareness. Once you see, you can't unsee. The second is going to be desire. You have to want to get to a better and a different and a more positive state. The third is choice. You do have a choice in all this. The fourth is action and practice. You do need to take small steps to be a better version of yourself. And you need to keep going no matter how many times you don't actually achieve what you want to achieve. So let's say that you always have 2 cookies after dinner. And you're like, darn it, I still want a cookie. I'm not going to go cold turkey, but I'm going to have 1 instead of 2. So the first night, the second night, the third night, all the way up until the 9th night. Oh, you can't control yourself. You still have 2. Then the 10th night, you have 1. Well, you have to celebrate that success, because one night of doing it, next time it's going to be 2 out of 10, then 3 out of 10. So every time that you actually go into that direction of where you want to go, celebrate it, be happy about it. We get so caught up in all the things that don't go wrong every day, right? But we forget to celebrate the 459 other things that we did on a daily basis that helped us be productive and get throughout our day. Do you celebrate the fact that you put underpants on today? Wait, today may not be the best example because I don't know how many people put underpants on in the COVID situation when you're not leaving your house, but you get the overall thing. So Action, practice, and celebrate your successes. And the last theme is going to be belief. You have to have faith that you can be who you want to be, that you can get to where you want to get. You have to believe that it's true. So awareness, desire, choice, action, practice, and celebrate the successes. It's all one, and belief. And in terms of some of the strategies that we'll talk about, all those are going to weave our ways in, and we're going to talk about how to keep it constant, how to remind yourself to bring yourself back, etc. But some of the more concrete areas, we'll talk about exercise, just moving in general, and nutrition. We'll talk about connecting with others, helping and serving others, prayer and inspiration, whatever that means to you, meditation, journal writing, affirmations work, learning new things and growing, connecting with nature, creativity, time management, forgiveness, and self-care. And self-care can also be a part of what are those activities that light you up and make you happy. So I want to take just a moment to mention influences. One of my hobbies is reading self-growth books. And I've done this for years and years and years. And now I'm starting to listen to podcasts too, right? So what I do whenever I read those books is I highlight them and then I write about them in my journal. And then I reflect on how they resonate and relate to my life and my dreams. And I spend almost every single morning doing this, even if I have to wake up early or alter my day a little bit. And on weekends, I double it. And I really, really enjoy what I've learned. My bookshelf is lined with some of these phenomenal people who have given me so many great tips and hints. And I will actually write them below in the comments at the end. But let me tell you some of those. Gretchen Rubin, Esther Hicks and Abraham, which is about the laws of attraction. Gabriella Bernstein, Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, Brene Brown, Andrea Owens, Mike Dooley, Louise Hay, Brendan Burchard. These are some that have really had an impact on me. There are others I have in queue that I haven't read yet. And there are some others that are very widely read that for whatever reason just haven't resonated with me as directly, whether it's the way it's written or it just doesn't work as well with me, but who are amazing. There's so many influences out there. So why do I tell you this? For two reasons. The first reason I tell you this is that if you haven't read them, listen to them, I would really suggest that you just take a look. Go to a website, listen to a podcast. You don't have to go full in with reading a book right away. But, maybe just start to see what some of these are all about and how they can have that influence to help motivate you and move you along. The second reason is that many of my beliefs, my actions, my reactions, my feelings, etc., my teachings are what I feel in my heart through experience of my own life. But a lot of them are a mix of what I've learned, and I want to be able to give credit where credit's due. All right, so let's kind of dive a little bit deeper now. So why should you listen to me? Why am I telling you all this and trying to help get you to another place, and a happier place? First of all, professionally, I've been in human resources for quite a while now, for over 2 decades. About a year and a half ago, I quit my full-time job and opened up my own company, and I now provide HR advice and services and training to small companies. But the other side of it is more closely aligned with this, and it's a passion to me. It's providing business and personal growth and life coaching. And I do that one-on-one. I do it in groups, etc. I also have a background in health and fitness as well. But in terms of me, so that's professional side. Who am I? I am, if you know me, you know, I am the epitome of energy. I am a self-proclaimed optimist. I'm Tigger. I'm creative. I'm silly. I'm the one that's going to crack a joke. I'm going to be the one who lightens the situation when it gets too serious or jumps on the podcast with ridiculous masks. I am the one that's going to walk away from those conversations when there's an endless loop of complaints and gossip and judging. And sometimes I'm going to even be the one to tell you that maybe we shouldn't be gossiping and judging people. Look, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to work on not doing that. I would rather celebrate people. I'd rather say, oh my gosh, compliment people. And when somebody doesn't accept a compliment, then I'm going to say, really? They complimented you because you look great. Feel it, own it, I'm also blunt and I say it like it is. And, there have been times when I forget to put that compassion and that love first. And I'm totally working on trying to round my corners. I'm always on the go. I'm active. I am offering sunshine. I am the unicorn farting rainbows, right? Or at least I hope to be. I'm nice to people, treat people well. I think it would be hard to find someone who says I was deliberately rude or mean. I despise drama. I hate it so much. I am real and I am authentic. I stick up for other people and I stick up for myself. I'm loud and I'm outspoken, sometimes too much so. There you go. But I'm authentic. I don't watch the news. I get my news, but I don't watch the news. I'm not a very anxious person. I'm not. And I focus more on what's right and what's possible instead of dwelling on what's not working and what could go wrong. So a lot of people think this is crazy. They think that I am flighty and blonde and, false. Can you really be real? Do you live in the real world? Well, tell you what, my friends, I live in the real world. I very much live in the real world of all we face. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. But see, I've made a decision from a young age and continued to commit to it and practice it and work on it of seeing the world and seeing life from rosier glasses. I am so practical, so organized, such a taskmaster, and I'm really on top of my shit, so to speak. But I just don't think that I have to do that from a grim face, serious mouth. Everything sucks. Negativity, no support, no love. I don't. I think that I can live and breathe in that same space that we're all living in, but live and breathe in it from a positive space. So you see this person, this bouncy Tigger who's full of sunshine and sometimes too blunt, right? But maybe you don't know that I've had my share of struggles too. We've all had struggles. And just a couple things, I had a rough childhood. My parents divorced at a young age. They've both been married and divorced since. And my brother and I lived with my mom, and we spent the majority of our time with her and her influence. And it was along the lines of Mommy Dearest. No matter how swollen my eyes were from crying, I still had to come back to her every day and say, I love you, Mommy. Swore I'd never be that way with my kid, right? I didn't have a mom the way other people have a mom, and I never have. I remember a prom when I asked my mom to help me put my makeup on, and instead she, after asking her 5 times, came up the stairs and threw the lipstick at me from across the room and told me I should know how to do it. As a matter of fact, my mom has never met my son, who's almost 10 years old, and I haven't talked to her in years. So that's been really difficult throughout my life. As a child, also, I was a competitive athlete, and it didn't matter how many meets I won. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It was never, ever good enough. I was never good enough or enough in my mother's eyes. So I've spent a lifetime trying to prove myself. I'm working on it. From our mom, we learned negativity. We learned anger. We learned the victim mentality. She thought everybody, including us, were always against her. My brother and I didn't learn from her compassion. We didn't learn how to make other people feel safe or loved. We didn't learn how to feel it ourselves. We didn't learn how to listen. Thank you, Janie, in high school for pointing that out to me and helping me to learn how to do that. We learned dependence, unhealthy dependence. There was very little sunshine in that home. My dad had more of that to offer, and we're still very close with my dad. But we did not come from money. We didn't come from money at all. And my dad had to work multiple jobs. I will say that we are very, very grateful that our parents did teach us a really solid work ethic, did teach us integrity, a sense of adventure, confidence, treating other people well, and standing up for ourselves and others. And I'm grateful for that. But with all the toughness, I learned what it felt like to be abandoned. And I learned from an early age to rely on me so I wouldn't get hurt. I built a lot of walls. And I learned to keep going, though. I learned resilience. I learned to keep going no matter what. I didn't have any financial support to fall back on. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've moved to different cities, and I've pivoted to different careers, and I've done it all. Done it with my own resilience. And some support from my dad and my brother, but a lot from trying to figure it out and taking risks. I come from a background of excellent teachers, really, really excellent teachers. My dad, my brother, my stepmother, Lynn. But I wanted to go into business, and no one in my family was in business. So I didn't have the resources, the influences, the support. I had to set out on my own and figure it out on my own, which I did. But I didn't even know to go to those interviews at the end of college when you graduate to get a job. I figured it out, but I didn't do it then. I was rudderless. And, in my own weird and funky way, I figured it out. And I always figured out how to make things happen. I always figure out how to add value to me and add value to others, and started to see how awesome it was to build other people up instead of tearing them down. I also always had a big problem with mean girls. I was, I don't like the whole victim, but I was so nice to everybody that I could never understand it. I was friends with every single friend group in high school. And because I was nice to people and stuck up for people, I got in a fight for sticking up with a math, somebody in the math group that the cool kids were picking on, but I don't think people liked that. I didn't fit into one particular group. I fit into a lot, and I'm a little weird. I'm a little independent. I've always been overly confident, and part of that was probably gymnastics, as well as the walls that I built up. And you know what? Women didn't like that. They didn't like that. And I've been ostracized a lot, and the focus really of a lot of mean girls. And it hasn't been until about the last 10 to 15 years, after I went through a very difficult divorce, that I've realized how amazing women can be. I have such soul sisters and friends now that I never had before, and I'm so grateful. Fast forward to where I am today. I did have a wonderful relationship and marriage for a few years. We had an amazing son, and I moved to Long Island, and I didn't have any friends here and didn't really know anybody, and then the marriage broke up. I was heartbroken. I felt abandoned again. Here I am, a single mom in a newer place, trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to do and how to pick up the pieces of my life. And now I am a single mom with a career that I've established over 20 some years, and a new career where I only have me to rely on for my success. Throughout my life, I've had a lot of struggles, like we all have. We all have our own stories. We all have our own obstacles. But I decided at a very young age that I wasn't going to be a mirror for what I grew up in, that I was going to look at it all and figure out how I wanted to pivot it. I wasn't going to be the victim. I was going to find more joy. I wasn't going to be angry or always have to be right. What does it matter? I was going to try my best to be a better version of myself every single day. Even if I failed, I was going to come back and try again the next day. I wanted to treat people well and spread more sunshine in the world. It's my choice. How would I have felt if I succumbed to it? If I didn't try, if I passed the same poison around that my mom did, the same anxiety, the same insecurity? No. I decided that I had more value to offer to myself and more value to add to other people. I'd rather have people wonder what's the deal with me as I'm hopping around, taking risks, living, experiencing life to the fullest and having fun and spreading sunshine. I'd rather do it. So why did I go into this background? I think in addition to showing you a little bit about me, I wanted to let you know that I am actually living proof of somebody who does live in reality. And reality hasn't been that easy, but I have chosen to live in a more positive perspective. That I've chosen to have more fun. It hasn't been easy, and I'm challenged every day. I practice. I try to maintain it every day. I'm not perfect. It is a commitment, and it is a practice. And I forgive myself when I don't do exactly the best that I want to do. But I keep going, and it's kind of a fun challenge at this point. I love it. And you know what? We all have different obstacles. We all have different challenges. They're very, very real. But I want to help you understand that you do have a choice. You have a choice to alter the perspective of how you look at and react to situations. You have a choice to be aware and make small tweaks. You have a choice to challenge your limiting beliefs and the stories you've always told yourself. In my coaching practice, I tell people to mind their butts. Mind your butts. My 10-year-old thinks that's the most hysterical thing he's ever heard, right? Mind your butts. What does that mean? Everybody's got a big old butt. It means I wanted to work out, but I was going to walk over and hug my son or my kid in the middle of XYZ, but I was going to go to that growth learning experience, but I was going to go outside today, but there are so many buts. We all have buts, but believe it or not, you can identify those buts and start to tear them apart, start to whittle them down, start to see past them, walk away, or go through them and start to destroy them. So let's talk about one strategy today that is very relevant to where we are with COVID, staying at home, social distancing, and all the feelings that go along with the situation right now. It's going to be focusing a little bit on that awareness piece, the awareness that we're human. This is hard. The awareness that when we have feelings that overcome us, we need to feel them. The best way to get past a feeling is not to sweep it under the rug or put it up high in the sky, but it's to go through it. It's to feel it for a little while and then go on. I have never been good at this. I was that icing on the cake. I was the icing. That's what you saw. All the depth was the cake, but I hadn't even faced the cake. I hadn't swam in the cake. And then I went through my divorce, and it was one of the most difficult times of my life. And I couldn't hide from those feelings. I couldn't put them anywhere else. I had to ask for help. And my friend Gab had said to me often during that time, we spent a lot of time together, it's okay to be human. You can be human. Feel what you're feeling. And I did. And I asked for help. And Andrea and Gab and Sherry and Janie and a slew of other people were there. Christine, always there to help me and to help me realize that I can be human and that I can face what I'm feeling. And what I want to mention about feeling and being human is to, again, feel it, experience those feelings, but then realize it's time to leave. Feel them for a bit. I don't mean watching the news. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the despair that it makes you feel, the worry, the anxiety. Sometimes you need to feel it a little bit and then you need to go. Again, my friend Gab, she's such a guru. She said to me the one day during my divorce, she's repeated this often. She said, go ahead, go to your pity party, go. And then you need to leave it, get out, go for a little while, set your time limit, get on out. I love that. You want to feel what you're feeling, but then you have to giddy up and move on. I also visualize it as sitting in a bathtub. Sit in a bathtub, soak in it for a little while, and then let the water drain out. Go. So again, to put it in a little perspective, I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, Ethan went to his dad's, and I was actually excited because I can get a lot of work done. I can respond to my clients. I can connect with people. I can do a whole lot of stuff. And I went for a walk, and then I came back home, and I hit the wall. I lost all motivation. I was done. I was convinced I was going to eat healthy. I was going to drink seltzer. I wasn't going to have a dessert. No. I put on comfier clothes if that was possible, put on a blanket. Whiskey jumped into my glass. My dinner ended up being a huge, delicious plate of refried beans and chicken covered with hot sauce and cheese. Delicious. And I sat on the couch. And I kept saying, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? But I knew I couldn't. The enormity of the situation had hit me full on. I had been in pretty good spirits. The first week when I was so panic stricken, where you didn't know what to do and the anxiety and fight or flight was really at a high level. The next couple of weeks I was okay. And then it just hit me. I was depressed. I was sad. I was gloomy. I want to see people. I didn't want to stay inside anymore. I don't want to worry about going to the store. I wanted to go hiking. I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to go to work, for God's sakes. I wanted to get dressed. I wanted to put makeup on. I wanted to have other things to look forward to. I wanted to see my family and my friends. I was tired. I was bummed out. I was frustrated. I was completely and totally depleted. Sound familiar? Well, I decided that night to sit in those feelings. I decided to realize that I had the rest of the night to sit in those feelings, and then when I woke up tomorrow, I would go back to, I would return to a more positive perspective. But that night, I let myself be brain dead and weepy and feel it and feel how difficult this is for all of us to go through. And I watched TV, and I did the Netflix reruns and SNL, and I did have my whiskey, and I had some chocolate, and I gave myself what I needed at the time. I knew that I couldn't push myself to be productive. I needed to do what was right for me, but I also needed to know when the time was up. I do want to tell you that in the midst of that, though, I still tried to keep a little perspective. I'm still trying to not totally get lost in it, okay? So I only had one glass of whiskey. I only had one piece of chocolate. It was a big piece, but I only had one. I watched a Louise Hay film. and I wrote some cards to my friends, simple cards that had a little tiny message. And all over the envelope, I splattered my son's ridiculous kitty cat and car stickers so that when they got them in the mail, they would smile. Because doing something for other people and supporting other people is a good way to get yourself to that higher feeling thought. I let myself not be at my ultimate best, and I gave myself love. And then I went to bed and I woke up, and it was time to leave the party. I needed that recharge. We all need that recharge. We all need the time to feel what we're feeling for a time. Look, I'll talk a lot about reaching for your best feeling thoughts. And I believe that. I believe that that's a good thing to do when you're feeling low. But sometimes you just need to experience the now, the toughness, the heartache, the pain, the despair. You have to give yourself that time. Not every day, not very often, but sometimes you have to feel it and cry. And I'll give you another example that when I was going through my divorce, I was still working in the city. So I was in the city 12 hours a day. And what I would do on the way in on the train is I would read something inspirational and I would write in my journal. And for about a year, when I did that every day, I cried. Big crocodile tears coming down my face. And I let myself have that time. And when I pulled, people on the train probably still wonder, what's that girl's deal? Who's that crying blonde chick? When I pulled into Penn Station, wiped my tears away, ran my fingers through my hair, put my shoulders back, and I walked across town and I went to work and kicked ass at work. I needed to do great at work. I needed to figure out how to put the pieces of my life together and be a great mom to my son, find a new place to live, all these other things that I had to do. But I let myself have that time, and that was the time limit right there. I'm going to do it. Now, that wasn't the only time that I would break down during that period of time, but I let myself have that in the mornings, and I really, again, didn't care what anybody else thought. I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't let my emotions control you. Don't let your emotions completely control you. You have a choice. Remember, what you focus on becomes your reality. It's time to change your focus after a while. If you want to feel better, you need to face those feelings. You need to see them, caress them, tell them it's okay. Forgive yourself for letting them come in and for you feeling them. And then you have to ask them politely to go, or you need to shut the door and kick them right the hell out. Whatever visualization works for you. Maybe let the water drain out, maybe leave the party. But you need to know that you can go there, you should go there, but then it's time to leave. Don't set up camp there. Don't live there. So let me challenge you before our next talk. I invite you to start being aware of your state of mind. Just observe, notice. Notice when you'd like to be in a better state. Notice some of the thoughts and emotions and reactions that are not serving you. Notice some of the stories you tell yourself. Mind your butts, right? The second thing is ask yourself if you're being human and if you're allowing yourself to feel and then coming back. Are you taking time to sit in the bath at all? And are you sitting there way too long until your hands are pruny, right? Are you staying at the party until the balloons are all deflated and the only wine left is the boxed kind? Time to go, sister. I challenge you to look at those feelings and emotions that are not serving you. To face them, say hello, talk for a bit, say goodbye. Can you do it? Can you take that challenge? And with this in mind, I'll end with this that I'd like to end with every week is take actions every day in the direction of the life you want to live. So I hope to meet again every week. I don't know if 2 o'clock is a good time or not. Feel free to let me know. I did hear back from quite a few people that said they're working, but we'll figure out what time may or may not work. So just be prepared for every Monday afternoon or early evening. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's given you some good motivation, and we'll dig a lot deeper into some other areas in the future. So thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and please feel free to leave comments. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.